Welcome to the latest This Week's Acca podcast, sponsored by Skybet Acca Freeze. Tom, Jimmy, Jake and Joe with you as ever to run through the schedule. Coming up on this show, we're heading on the road with home and away form seemingly disregarded. 5 teams fancied around that 14 to 16 to 1 marker from 3 leagues in the English setup. Let's know your thoughts in the comments all through Sporting Life Football social media channels, and remember to keep it fun. Never bet more you can afford. This podcast is 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly. Let's quickly discuss midweek's Acca before we move on.
Do we have to?
Hearts won, so that was looking terrible, and they've turned it round. Go on. Do you want the floor? Explain what has happened with these shouts, please.
I'll hold my hands up and apologise because Algeria completely shat the bed. Can you remember who they played?
Mauritania.
Yeah, you pronounced it well as well. Yeah, they actually qualified, and the only consolation for me is that Algeria didn't qualify, so they got the deserved for what was an awful performance. Tamworth, the better team by all accounts, just couldn't score.
Bitter.
Yeah,
I'm not going to win me my Acca about the whole thing.
Yep. Yeah,
go home.
How can you treat a whole country that way?
Yeah,
not just those 11 players that played on the pitch. But to be fair, the manager didn't start Mahrez.
I'm Team Morocco, and you have to pick a side in that rivalry. So, it's fine.
Which side are you?
I mean, the biggest...
I'm not getting involved in any political
biggest
stuff.
story is your man, Algeria. Your man, is it your man running around Africa? Can't get into is it Algeria? Can't get into
That's
probably the biggest story relating to Algeria.
Yeah.
Luckily, to deflect from the fact they let down our Acca at a very short price.
Yes. I think that'll be the last we see of AFCON on this podcast for ever, maybe.
Well, yeah.
I'd have to say so. Yeah. Joe, run us through some comments if we've got any.
Yeah, mainly they're just a lot of stick about us including Algeria in that. Not really. We did get a bit of feedback on the fact that Tuesday's one was a bit of a wild set of selections. We had Jason get in touch on Twitter saying that I'm betting on this Acca in New Zealand and it doesn't even include National League North, so I've had to build my own with 4 legs. And then
probably one.
Chris Quinn got in touch, said, "Don't really care where the games are. Winners are all that matters in an Acca." Well, we didn't give you that either.
2 from 2.
Yeah, we had plenty of comments on YouTube. Keep those coming in, so I'll just have to pick out a few. Darren getting in touch saying, "Definitely my favourite betting podcast by far. The banter almost makes up for all the Acca losers." Love it, guys. Thanks for calling out all of
I
these.
instantly hear that and think, what a sarcastic...
Yeah.
Is he paid or...
Yeah, Acca Royalist says, "Just love it when you're willing to throw a random team in at the end just to complete your Acca so you can get out of the room."
Is he in the room? How does he know?
Yeah, plenty coming in, and obviously it was...
It's too positive for it being good. Give us some... You lot of shit.
It was disrupted on Tuesday because of the crew game being called off, and thanks to Darren for getting in touch.
Less losing selection.
Did not lose.
But we go again.
We do go again, and we're going straight into it this weekend. FA Cup, of course, but we've still got a lot of League One, a lot of League Two. There's a National League, a couple of Championship games get involved in as well. Who would like to kick us off this week? You're all looking quite sheepish and hesitant. Are we all not too confident?
Yeah, I'll go.
It was a decent type sort of slate we've got.
Joe was very excited.
Come on then. This is going straight.
I already said beforehand, dinner that this is winning this week.
Brilliant news.
Call it out.
Brilliant news. Thank God, because we need it.
I'm getting straight in there. It's been a while since I've put my own team forward.
Put them the other way.
But
feels
the week before that.
Feels very recent.
They
are winning, to be fair.
Yeah, one defeat in 19 games for Barnsley now at home to Exeter, who are one of the teams in the worst form in League One. We've steered away from Barnsley a few times out of fear for their home form, but that's ancient history. It's the start of the season. They had a hard-fought win over Oxford in midweek, won the last 3 games in League One. It just feels like a straightforward price at 3 to 5 that will be much shorter by kickoff, and you should be building your Acca around this selection.
Yeah, I have nothing major to add on that one. Exeter's recent wins, Bristol Rovers, Carlisle as well. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Barnsley had absolutely no chance. I think it was fair to say of top 2. They're now 3 points off second. Peterborough in second as well. Portsmouth are faltering a bit. Derby have dropped a few points. Bolton have a bit hit and miss at times as well. Suddenly, Barnsley are massively in promotion contention out of seemingly nowhere.
Absolutely, yeah. They're picking up a head of steam, and I think Joe's said it on this podcast quite a few times that they're in this position without even playing that well. They've not really hit top gear to the point of what we saw from them last season under Duff. Yeah, which is quite a frightening prospect down the stretch, to be fair. Because if things all click together, then I don't see anyone who can really stop them. And Exeter, rare away win in midweek, but I think it's interesting. You look at their away results against the top 8. They've played 6 times. They've lost 5 of those. All of those defeats to 0. The other one was a draw. So when they play away at the better teams, they generally get comfortably beaten. So I'm happy to put Barnsley in.
Yeah, we need to hear from the voice of Oakwell, though.
The voice of Oakwell, yeah.
Jimmy the Punt, James Cantrill. Of course, we heard the fantastic lines coming on Devante Cole's winner. The last midweek, was it? We included them. Was it quite recently? Happy 1-2. Is it a bit short, or is it fine, or not?
Well,
probably 3-5. I think the price. Sorry.
I remember saying after they beat Shrewsbury 3-0, Herbie Kane got a penalty, the first in what felt like years for Barnsley at Oakwell, saying, I think it's clicking. But it hasn't. But somehow they're in the title race. And are they going to keep winning games without playing well? Are they? I don't know. Because every time I go and watch them, the Carlisle game, a classic example. Carlisle did really well. Barnsley were really poor. But they found a way to win. And are we just going to keep saying, yep, that's a sign of a good team, they're going to be in and amongst the title, or is it going to catch up to them? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think it is a sign of a good team, though. It's the cliche when they're not playing well, but they're winning. But then, is that not just their standards so high that when it drops below what we would be used to seeing from them, they're still winning the game? So actually, when they're on it, surely they're just going to annihilate teams.
See, I anticipated this from Jimmy, so I tried to pinpoint where I feel like it changed for Barnsley from going with that idea that, well, is it gonna fall apart? The midweek game is worth a little bit of extra context. So if you see something about like Barnsley being short of players, because they ended up with a right wing back in central midfield, a striker in central midfield, and then another central midfielder sitting in front of the back three. And Oxford
midfielders.
Oxford didn't have any chances apart from shooting from 20 yards in the crossbar, and they have just found a way of efficiently playing and grinding out results that they previously didn't. That Carlisle game, they were awful and really fortunate. So that's the win before. So we're talking 10 days ago or so. But when they played Stevenage on the 23rd of December, that was the first game that they'd won against a side in the top 10. And they were 1-0 down. Collins made a couple of changes, and since then, that's when they've won 5 games and drawn 2. And the 2 games they've drawn, best performance of the season against Peterborough, had a 2-0 lead, and they should have won that game 4-2, hit the crossbar late on, played really well. Away from home, we know how good Peterborough have been this season. And then at home to Wigan, not as bad as against Carlisle, but they just looked leggy, conceded an 88th minute equaliser from a 30-yard goal. So it goes both ways, because they're 2 matches where arguably they should have had another 4 points and they didn't. And then there's other games where they've had a bit of fortune and they've ground it out. And this is now over a massive sample size for a season. 1 defeat in 19 matches, 17 in the league. So it isn't how long's this going to last. It is a consistent team selection and the ability to get results. So whereas 10 or 12 games ago I'd have been like, I'm not sure, but I don't see it that way now.
I think we're at a point here where there's 3 who are in, because I'm on board with this as an Acca type pick. Home team, good home team against a struggling away team. It's the one maybe in that corner over there.
Yeah, Joe made an excellent point about Collins' substitutions. Congratulations on that. But you also followed it up by saying you finished with a centre mid, a right wing back, and a striker playing in centre mid in the midweek. And I've just checked that's true. So well done on that.
Cheers,
as well. But if one of his main strengths in my eyes is his substitutions, his way to bring on players to impact games, and his squad's very, very bare at the minute. Like, is that going to be a strength this weekend? Is it going to be another sluggish start, and he's not going to have the personnel to change it up?
Only so much he can pack into speaking for... We've tried to implement this 30-second rule, haven't we? It's very hard on this podcast. But the 2 midfielders they took off, Kane and Phillips, they're expected to be back on Saturday. It was a precautionary thing because of a run of fixtures. So they'll be fine.
At the end of the
Luke
day,
O'Connell was missing with a stomach bug, and he'll be back on Saturday as well. So that with 3 central midfielders they didn't finish with on Tuesday, who'll be back on Saturday.
And they still won the game on Tuesday as well.
And they're playing Exeter this weekend, who are been really poor away from home. They according to the underlying data, they are the worst travelling team in the entire division. So they concede more chances than they create by quite a
I think
margin.
this is going in.
Yeah, well,
I think this is where we're heading.
Yeah, the underlying data sold you, didn't it?
You said about that. I didn't realise the worst side according to the underlying data away from home.
That's correct.
All right, I'm in.
There we go then. That's
I've won him
convinced him.
over.
That's
Cheers,
convinced him. Fair enough.
This is over the line.
Yeah, fair enough. First pick of this week's Acca then, it comes from Sky Bet League One. It's Barnsley for a home win over Exeter.
So staying in League One, another title contender. I quite like the look of Bolton at Carlisle this weekend. We're getting 4 to 5.
Yep.
Only bottom side Fleetwood have lost more at home than Carlisle this season. They've drawn 1, lost 2 against the top 6. Bolton have won 7 of 12 away from home. They've actually got the third highest win percentage away from home this season. Barnsley have the most at 62%, Derby at 60%, Bolton at 58%. And they've made light work of bottom half teams when travelling. They've won 6, drawn 1, lost 1, and 5 wins to 0. So poor team, good team, price should be shorter.
Yeah, it's coming off the back of that Bolton's record against bottom half sides. Carlisle have a terrible record against top half sides. Their only win against someone above 14 currently came in the reverse against Bolton, and oh my gosh, I think Bolton will want revenge here.
Revenge.
I don't know. I think I like it, but there's just something about Carlisle that makes me think they're going to come good. I don't know if it's the investment. I don't know. There's something, because I thought, granted, we're still in January, right? So stuff could happen.
It's because Paul Simpson said that they use StatsBomb.
Yeah,
in his interview.
that'll be it.
Well, remember, what he said was, we can't afford any of the players StatsBomb tell us, so we're not signing anyone.
Yeah, but it could be like Football Manager, where I'm in League 2 and they're going, hey, how about this lad who scored 50 goals in the Premier League and started regularly for
Why am I
Palace?
seeing
Like,
why am I seeing Zlatan Ibrahimovic
It
on
could
this?
well be that list. And maybe for me, it's Carlisle's January window's fairly active. I think they've got some cash to spend.
Isn't that a negative though?
That's
Bringing
balanced up.
like plenty of new faces to
Not really when
take a
you're
little time to
when
gel.
you're shit.
Might be
Typically,
shit for a while longer
better
before the
players
gel. You
better
never know.
players. Well, that's what I mean. Maybe maybe it'll be February, March time before they start to get results. I'm not too sure. Mainly because it's Luke Armstrong's there and it's just big striker, and I've got to think about big strikers. They instantly make any team better. But from a pure footballing thing, it's hard to say Bolton won't win this game.
I like it. It was up there with Barnsley for me, and the way that the season's playing out, then I think Bolton are going to win the league. I really do. Just they've been so consistent for the majority of the season. I know that Peterborough.
Sorry to interrupt you there, just because of the shocked reaction that we got from the other side of the desk. They're 2 points behind first.
Yeah,
It's not like he's turning around and got to tell you what, Leighton Orient are on a
I
charge.
don't know, that's
I mean,
a bit of a hot take.
Have they been top of the league at any point this season?
don't
If
think
they
so.
have, maybe for like one game.
I mean, if they have, it must
really
be very,
early
very
on,
early.
but I'm not sure they ever have.
No.
But they've
They
just.
weren't even top of the league alphabetically, were they?
No, that's why teams are AFC. A lot of them, aren't they? Still at the top.
Look, they're not
Well, Hackney,
favourites. Are Derby still favourites? Bizarrely, they might not be actually now, having had 2 poor results. Derby, but yeah, Bolton have just been churning out all season. They've had the consistency of having one of the best managers in the EFL. Really good last season, and they go into one of the worst teams in the league. They're going to win this game. They should be sure.
I'm fairly sure this fact is correct. So if I'm wrong, please let me know. But on the topic of starting the season top, that's why Arsenal were called the Arsenal, and they dropped the from the name. So every season they'd start top of the league.
Really?
I think that's actually a fact. I'm sure I saw that somewhere, and that feels that. Hang on, the Arsenal, because their full name's the Arsenal Football Club, and I'm sure they dropped it.
And then
There you go.
AFC Bournemouth.
Later that year, the Arsenal started dropping the official documents, gradually shifting towards their time towards Arsenal, and I'm pretty sure it's one of the reasons was so they'd be top of the league.
And then AFC
There's
Bournemouth.
your and then AFC teams started happening. There's your random fact for the day.
That's good.
I think we're all on board with Bolton to drag back to the Acca. We have Barnsley locked in, a team that we spoke about as potential promotion contenders. Bolton, title favourites, and I think when George comes steaming in, or Dom comes steaming in with these TikTok videos, they're asking who do we think will win League One. I know Bolton was a popular pick on that one. Should we take Bolton as the second pick then?
Yep.
Yes, please.
Let's go for it then. Joining Barnsley in what is an all League One Acca so far, although we've only made 2 picks. We've got Barnsley to beat Exeter, and we've got Bolton to beat Carlisle as well.
One thing we've all got in common is having that one leg of an Acca let us down. From spending your winnings in your head to cursing that last-minute equaliser that broke your heart. But it doesn't have to be that way. Acca Freeze from Sky Bet gives you the power to freeze a winning score early. Even if that team goes on to lose, Sky Bet will settle it as a winner. It's time to take action. It's time to Acca Freeze and end the game your way. Visit skybet.com for full terms and conditions.
Acca Freeze picks time then. I've started to like this little segment that we're doing because it gives me that little bit of knowledge that I need just to freeze one. Joe doesn't look happy, but I think there's a number of games to pick this week. Same format as ever. I want one pick for your accumulator, a team that you would freeze a little bit early. I'm actually going to start. I never start myself. Mansfield away at Wimbledon. Get around 7-5 on them. Wimbledon, 2 players sent off against MK Dons in midweek. Both defenders. Are they going to struggle to keep the ball out of the net? Who knows? Jimmy?
Me?
You?
Ellen Road for me, where I'm going to freeze the visitors. Plymouth 7-1, I think. Both sides going to make wholesale changes, but Plymouth played Whittaker and Hardy last game, so I think they could get off to a fast start.
Leeds keep conceding dead early as well for some reason. I don't know why. Joe?
I'm not saying that I forgot
thought I could
to
catch you
do
off guard.
this, but I did, and now I'm just going to pick one of my best selections, Millwall to beat Preston. I think they're both not great teams, but I really like the price on Millwall, so I think they'll take the lead at home. Traditionally a strong home team, but it wouldn't surprise me if Preston pegged them back and it was a draw.
I was going to go Plymouth, but just to be different, I'll go Cheltenham away at Derby. Derby having a little bit of a struggle, and I think Cheltenham could get their noses in front.
They are a good team, Cheltenham. They are our Acca Freeze picks. Back to this week's Acca. So far then, we've got Barnsley to beat Exeter. We've got Bolton to beat Carlisle, I should say. That double around 17-10. Got giggling away 9-5.
Said we've got Claire Balding.
It's CB on the initials of this game. It could well CVB. But yeah, there are 2 teams. We've got Barnsley, we've got Bolton. Can I take us next with one of my favourite picks? You're grimacing a bit. You okay? Okay, fine.
Yeah, we'll allow it.
Can I take you back to the National League? I like a little National League
Loves the National
adventure
League,
down there. Altrincham are 3-4-ish, 5-6, wherever you're looking, to beat Eastleigh in this game. Eastleigh, I've mentioned them on this podcast before. I think we put them up. They have won, went home. Home form, they rely on that a lot, I think. Away from home, not great. Their record is, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it, won just 3 of 14. Defensively, what the hell is this team doing? If they didn't have the likes of Paul McCallum, God knows where this team would be. 3 of the last 4 games in the National League, they've conceded 4 goals in.
Let's take some doing.
Remarkably, they've picked up points as well. So this shows exactly where they're at. They can attack. They cannot defend whatsoever. And they go to an Altrincham side who, I'm going to shout out Lewis Tomlinson here, who did our National League outright preview. They were 12-1 to finish in the top 7 of the National League. They were 40-1 to finish in the top 3. They're not going to get the top 3, but the top 7... they are well in that mix. They're about 5th at the moment. And he was saying before, they've just got this all wrong. This team are going to be really good this season. You know, they've gone full-time. Phil Parkinson, very switched-on manager, yada, yada. They are firmly in that mix at the moment. So just wanted to drop that in there as well. Had a bit of time off because of postponements as well, 11 days. I've gone on a bit, but Altrincham at home to Eastleigh. An Eastleigh side who are struggling away from home. Altrincham, been very good at home as well. One of the best home sides in the division. 7 wins, 4 draws on their record in 13 games. This is odds on, but to me, it's a really solid Acca pick. And yeah, Eastleigh surely just can't keep scoring their way out of trouble every single week.
Can I throw a quick question in?
Yes.
Jimmy, actually. Where is Altrincham?
I think it's a bit south of Carlisle, but north of Cornwall.
He's nailed. He is nailed.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely nailed.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong, babe. How are you spelling that, sorry?
Google.
I think
O-L
I spell it wrong.
T-R-I-N-G.
what we've learned about this podcast is geography is a very weak point.
You never
You
guess.
Googled it. Where it is?
That was my best GCSE grade, geography.
Geography.
Yeah.
Just 'cause I
One grade.
believe it.
Just because I smashed the geology stuff. Talk to me about rocks all day.
I didn't do geography. Were you still...
I can see you collecting rocks, actually.
It strikes me as that.
He's a little bit younger than us. Were you still letters or were you the number grade things?
Letters.
Because I go to numbers now and I don't get it. I'm digressing anyway. Altrincham is like Manchester way. Home of the Manchester Storm, if you like ice hockey. Get yourself along to there.
But onto Altrincham Market, mate. Nice
it's a goodie. It's a goodie. You get some good food there as well. But more importantly, Altrincham to beat Eastleigh. Are you all with me? This is probably my best pick of the Acca, I think, this weekend. I really like this bet. And I think it's priced as it is because Eastleigh are also kind of in that promotion mix a little bit as well. But that is pretty much because of their home form, which has dipped off a little bit in recent weeks as well. Cannot defend whatsoever, and I think Altrincham can make the most of it.
I was going to say, my only concern is the fact that they do score a shit ton of goals.
Yeah, but they also concede a load.
No,
as
but
well.
when you go to Chesterfield and you lose 3-2 and you play fairly close, I think were they leading that game? I think they were in front.
2-1, if I remember.
They went to Oldham and they drew. They scored 5 at Aldershot, like you said, 4 at Boreham Wood. I don't know if I could oppose a team that's got that kind of.
Yeah, but then look at the other side of it.
I
There's
know,
2
but-
goals in the game of football. You got to.
All you need is for Altrincham to have a bad day in front of goal and
You
they lose
have
3 or 4-0.
to win a league, and I'm not saying they will, but to be good in a league, surely it's all on your defence. You can't just outscore your way to success. Every good team is surely based on the foundation of having a good defence.
I've learned my lesson from Tuesday here, and I don't know anything about this fixture, these teams. If this is one where we come to it in 10 minutes' time, we're like, yeah, that's probably the strongest pick to complete the Acca. Sticking this in as the third selection when there's so much else to talk about that all 4 of us would have a strong view on, then I don't think it's smart to put it in as number 3.
Look at that run of fixtures. Chesterfield, so they're 3-2 at Chesterfield, won 5-3 at Aldershot, 2-1 at Dorking, 4-1 loss at Dagenham, 4-4 again at the reverse fixture,
Stop listening.
1-0 at Southend, 4-4 at Boreham Wood. Cannot defend to save them lives. This is the...
I think
This has to be the
pin it and
pick.
We might come back to
Good Lord, you don't know what you're missing out on.
Yeah.
Maybe something better then.
Go on, Joe.
I'm just doing a bit of YouTube looking at the minute, mate.
No worries, you just scroll YouTube. Anyone else want to take over? Jimmy, have we been to you yet?
No.
Jimmy was
Well then,
actually...
Jimmy.
There we go.
Come on, have a go.
He was Googling another geographical question just in case he got quizzed on it.
Oh, it's worse than that.
Uh-oh.
What were you actually
I'm
Googling?
checking what league they're in.
Oh, dear.
Oh.
And it's not even like a road
On then.
league.
I don't know what you're laughing at.
Let's get back. We have got Barnsley, we've got Bolton locked in. We definitely want them. Alty at home to Eastleigh's a maybe. I reckon I can get it back in though.
Right,
Jimmy,
come-
give us a
Yeah,
third pick.
you can do it. Northampton 9-10. Sky Bet League One's Northampton.
Do you think?
Recently
Do you still think they're in League Two?
You had to Google.
Well, I thought we
just
spoke about
checking.
Northampton a fair bit on this
checking.
podcast.
Didn't want to look like an idiot. Yeah, they host
Yes.
Shrewsbury. Northampton beat Charlton Tuesday. Big price as well. 3-1. What are you laughing at?
I've just seen that second line.
Well, it did cost him Appleton his job, didn't it?
When you put lol on the end.
A
Lol.
lot of managers lost their jobs this week.
A lot of them gone.
Yeah, we've got that actually
Yeah,
to talk about.
I was going to say, this is the managerial thing. This is a question mark. I had Northampton. Shrewsbury fans is yearn the right word? Just desperate for Paul Hurst to return to the club. Basically, ever since he left. This is the last few years that anytime there's a possibility, you see it, Paul Hurst is coming back. Paul Hurst has finally gone back. Now, for those who didn't know, Shrewsbury had an unbelievable run in League One in 2018. Got to the playoff final against all the odds. Lost in extra time, I think it was, to Rotherham. Brilliant set piece from that game. If you go back and watch it, Shrewsbury did this unbelievable free kick routine and scored to equalise. Hurst is back, though. Change of manager. Does that put us off it? Or the fact remains that he will have had, 2 days working with the current group
know
of
what they
players
say?
that has changed drastically since he
What do they
was there.
say?
They say never go back. James Beattie did it at Sheffield United. Score a single goal.
I just don't like managers going back.
Don't go
I'm
back.
always
Don't
against
ruin it.
And the fact is as well,
Yeah,
I'm
not
not
wrong.
taking nothing away from the achievements of Shrewsbury that year. Did you see the loanees they had that year that were like the spine of their team? They had
No.
Dean Henderson in goal, Carlton Morris was up front, Ben Godfrey was in that team. I think he was playing midfield as well. I think Max
Playing
Lowe
for-
was a loanee as well. Like, look at the careers that some of these players have then gone on and had. Fair play to them for getting it.
Tom's pretty much Paul Hurst correspondent as well, because although he's a Leeds United supporter, then
Yeah.
Shrewsbury and Grimsby Town
just
Scarborough.
the two teams.
At Scarborough Athletic.
And the Romanian second team, second division team.
Progressal Spartak in Romania's second division.
We've been hurt. I said this when we were chatting before. I was like, I don't want to get hurt again. And we got hurt by Carl Robinson because we were like, no, new managers, it's not allowed. It is not allowed. That is a rule on this podcast. When there's a new manager in, we're like, too many unknowns. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if they're going to try something mental. And then all of a sudden, it's just too many unknowns. And there's quite a few this week. Managerial changes. What was the other one? Blackpool game?
Yeah, we
Blackpool,
situation. Blackpool, Charlton.
They don't have a
Like Blackpool, Charlton, Northampton, Shrewsbury. They both just feel like the prices aren't so amazing that you're like, I want to get them in. If it just feels...
Of the two, I probably would lean towards Blackpool.
I think, if we were going for the two.
Just Shrewsbury, I don't know how...
There's a lot...
How he's going to turn that around.
There's a lot of positivity there. Yeah. There's a lot of positivity behind this appointment. Understand it. But obviously you got some people going, why, why are we going back? I've seen one person say it was a fluke season, yada, yada, and then look at what he's done since. But obviously, it's the good times. Everyone's behind them and they want to get involved.
Did you know that they've scored just 4 goals in 14 away league games this season?
Do you know what? I think...
Shrewsbury.
I've spoke about Shrewsbury's pitch. I think it's going to reverse now. I think they're actually going to be better away from home, and I'm going to think they struggle at home because of the way that Hurst will want to play. And you can't change your pitch dimensions in the middle of the season. I don't think it's drastically shorter, but I've spoke about that pitch size and the overall surface of it and how weird it is a bit. I actually think their form might flip a bit now. They might struggle at home, but away from home they might be a decent side now. But we'll see how that one turns out.
Does the fact that Peterborough and Derby are the only two sides to take more points than Northampton since the beginning of November not tempt anyone?
Do you think, though, you're getting a price on the uncertainty, actually? If it was a settled thing, do you not think Northampton go off around the Blackpool 8-11 marker? Are you gambling on that and
they always go off.
Thinking?
They always go off long. I had brought this up multiple times on the podcast. For whatever reason, Northampton go off closer to even money than everybody else. And it was why they didn't go in at home to Wigan. There wasn't a new manager change, but we were saying... we're just not quite sure about Wigan because even though the results don't say it, we've seen enough from them that we think probably going to scab a draw, which is what happened in the end. But it's just the managerial uncertainty. I'm not going to be... If Northampton win, I won't be sitting here next week like we're kicking ourselves. Shrewsbury do. I think we've been mugs again. Like we are
every week.
Do you want to talk? Do you want to talk Blackpool then? Blackpool are a team on this podcast that
divides opinions.
Don't know, but we mentioned it there, so I think it's fair we only discuss it.
Yeah, we've got the similar with the managerial change, but they haven't made a firm appointment just yet. Curtis Fleming is the caretaker manager. He was at Bristol City as an interim coach. When he was the interim at Bristol City, his first game was against Sheffield Wednesday, obviously, and they won. This was earlier in the season. But yeah, I just think that this is a game, like we've said with Blackpool, they are literally like polar opposites home and away. I know they got an away win in midweek, but at home, they're actually the best home team in the entire division. They've won 10 of 15, scored 32 times, 4 straight, second best underlying process at home behind only Peterborough. And yeah, the fact that Charlton don't have a manager is a bit of a concern, but I'd trust Blackpool to get a job done here.
Did you?
I think it's different. I think it's.
Joe just said, "Did you listen to nothing?"
It feels a bit different. It feels different to me. The difference here, though, you're dealing with interim managers and you're dealing with newly appointed managers. So it's Fleming and Jason Pearce, who was the interim last time. Obviously, they go through managers very quickly. Charlton, he's kind of stepped up. I think he's not technically in charge, but he's the kind of person who, cliched, knows the club. Obviously been around the position a little bit
nowadays.
Big time.
I think that's different, even though it is a familiar face, than having someone, say like Paul Hurst, who comes in and is permanently the manager now.
Yeah.
There's a feeling of interim of you're looking after the team, just get us through this period, and then when Nathan Jones, Michael Duff, whoever it is, rocks up on the touchline at the Valley, then you obviously begin that period again. But again, if Blackpool don't win, they are never allowed to be discussed or included on this Acca again, would be the only thing.
Did you see the midweek game against, that obviously cost him the job? Northampton scored very late, 97th minute, but there was probably one of the worst red card decisions you'll ever see in your life in that match. If you've not seen it,
Mike, have you?
Two players going for a ball, the Charlton wing-back Eden wins the ball, and the Northampton player just absolutely clatters him, nearly breaks his leg, And then the Charlton player gets...
There is also the through on goal. It didn't matter in the end, but he rounds the keeper slides out, takes him out, and there's a brilliant view from the away end where the Northampton goes, all you hear is the unison, ref! And then the ref actually gives the free kick, and then it's like the unison, ref! What? So that was one of those where he's been completely taken out. Looking at the slate, I would be more on board with Blackpool as a home side. I will say that.
I can't be having it. So the other side to it. So I get the interim manager thing. Sometimes an interim manager ends up staying and does a great job. But first, then we're recording this on a Thursday morning. Plenty of time for something to change in the next 55 hours or so. If this was right before the game, we were like, yeah, they ain't got a manager yet. They could appoint Duff. Nathan Jones is heavily odds on now. Nathan Jones is a mad character. Can you imagine him just turning up on set? You've got no idea how they're going to play. But the biggest thing is the fans wanted Appleton out for about a month. They've been booing him. They've hated him being in charge. And I've just pulled it up now to see what it ended up getting to, because I was waiting, like refreshing Twitter, to see what after that last-minute goal went in. They sacked him within like 20 minutes of the game. They put the statement out. And there were 200 comments from Charlton fans within like 10 minutes.
155 of those spam betting
It was
bots. weren't they?
crazy. Just saying, yes, he's gone. Thank you. First good thing you've done since you took ownership of the club. They're like, yes, Appleton's out. And it's up to 460 comments now.
I heard a rumour
Being
that
sacked.
they actually sacked him while the players were still out clapping on the pitch.
It's crazy.
It would make. To be fair, though, a lot of the time it's never a spontaneous thing. It would have been decided if we don't win this game, he's gone. Yeah. So they would have already prepared how they tell him and what's happening. So it could have literally been a straight away grab him as he's walking down the tunnel. Come and talk to us, please.
Grab him, quick! Grab him! He's here! Quick, grab him!
All the crap
Probably
that,
would knock
like
them out.
Charlton have been through the last few years.
Oh, God, yeah.
They are a well-supported club. Like the fans are going to be right behind them on Saturday. Right behind them. Whoever's in charge, I would not be wanting to back against that.
We need a third pick then, because we've been dismissing ones, and I want one that we can all get behind. I don't want these ones going, I've thought about it, and actually I'm not too sure, because this has got to be other picks on this slate that we can go, yeah, let's have them straight away. Everyone jumping forward there. You're so enthusiastic.
Yeah? Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
please.
The floor is anyone's
I don't think we're going to like it.
season.
It's going to be one that we hate now.
What?
Unless he quotes underlined data, it's not going in.
What? You guys hating one of my selections? That rarely happens. Stockport 4-5 at Donny. Charlie got in touch on TikTok actually to say, will you talk about Doncaster, please? Well, I'm going to. And then I think they're
Not going to like it.
Not going to like it, Charlie, my boy. Simple, Duffman, actually. You'll like this because it's basically it's a good team
Is I don't like it.
a bad team. No, you do.
problem you've
you
got.
do.
When
You do like
haven't
it.
Stockport not won in like 5 away or something.
Well, it's funny you
There you
should say because they
Look at
actually,
this game.
from a price point of view, they went off shorter against Morecambe and Newport recently. And did they win? No. But
It's an incredible argument.
we don't.
The way we're going around.
When do we ever back winners? We only.
Let's just chuck in more losers.
The only currency we deal in is sweet value, and I think
Is it
I think
value?
this is gonna go, yeah. Well, I've just said they went off short against Morecambe and Newport, so this price ain't gonna be around come kick off.
I get the price point. They probably should be shorter, but I don't have. They're another team, a little bit like Portsmouth, who are having a little mini wobble at this moment in time. I'm struggling to find that consistency. So that there's a few of them. To be fair, at the top of League Two, they're having that. Mansfield struggling to get wins on the board. Wrexham just home away form is just so contrasting. So I personally would be looking to avoid all three of them on that basis.
I actually get the point about the price.
Yeah.
To be honest, because Donny are really, really bad. Like they had that one win
Really good.
at home to MK Dons. Other than that, sweet nothing.
Sweet.
Like, they've been really bad for a long time. Apart from that win over MK Dons on New Year's Day, the last win in League One was in November.
Oh, result that.
So I could be swung by the price, but similar to Tom, then I went straight past it because Stockport have just been a bit ropey for the last
To be fair, actually,
6 to 8
to
weeks.
support Jim Rod in a way, and even though there should be 2 away teams, I'll be boiling with rage. Bradford, that 0-0 game, right? I remember that night was horrendous weather. It was just horrendous, like rain, wind, everything. I'm amazed that game went ahead. And on reflection, when I was looking at it, I was like, should have backed just under like goals. There was surely no chance any team scores in this. That was 0-0. Then they went to Barrow, who we spoke about, are very good at home. I think they're still unbeaten at home. Morecambe as well, who were on a little bit of a kind of a blip at that stage, if I remember rightly. And then it was Aldershot in the Cup. They lost at Newport as well. And then before that, it was Swindon, beat Crewe, beat Harrogate, beat Accrington, beat MK Dons, beat Wimbledon. So when you kind of look at the draws and why they happened...
And Donny have lost 3 of the last 4 at home.
I kind of get it. He's won us round, hasn't he?
Look at how...
Won us round.
He's killing you. Just admit it's a great pick and you want it in.
We have to. That's it for away teams. That's what I will say.
Well, if that's it for the away teams I had was Peterborough to win at Lincoln at the same price. So when you've got to have a think, which would you prefer? Stockport to win at Donny at 4-5 or Peterborough to win at Lincoln at 4-5?
So the other away team we've got Bolton away at Carlisle. That joins Barnsley at home to Exeter. We're around 17-10. We're around 9-5-ish, depending where you look. So from a value perspective, I don't think it matters too much either way. I don't know. There's something about Lincoln. I don't know. They just seem a very low event team.
I'll tell you something about Lincoln.
Please do.
0-0 with Derby, and they probably, in my eyes, should have won. They got Joe Taylor on loan from Luton, I believe, and he was lethal on the counter-attack. I don't know what the official thing is, but he had 5 shots, and there were 3 pretty big chances that he missed. And again, against sort of a similar team, Peterborough, where the onus is on them, I think him specifically will cause them some issues.
Just feel under Skubala a low event team, Lincoln. Even though Peterborough are brilliant attack, I wouldn't be particularly surprised if this game was somehow 0-0 in the end. It just feels like nothing major happened.
When you only have to look at all season, they've scored 30 and conceded 30 in 28 games.
Yeah, I got a thing as well. Maybe Lincoln's one of the best home atmospheres in League One, isn't it? So it feels a bit like.
Are we overthinking it a bit though? They've not won in 9 matches. And then they've lost 2 of the last 3 at home. Lost at home to Bolton, lost at home to Northampton. Drew 0-0 with Derby.
I guess the question is, we're taking Peterborough or we're taking Stockport the way we're going. And this is only the 3rd selection here, so we need to,
We're raving about Peterborough. And, I mean, we hadn't had a winning Acca for quite a while. Do we have to loosen it up and think, why are we worrying about whether they're at home or away? Even more controversially.
Put them both in.
I wouldn't be averse to sticking them both in.
That's insane. We'd have 1 home, 3 of the 4 would be away teams. Odds on away teams, and the EFL tells us that that's a mental thing to
Won't
do.
bother me, mate.
Will bother me a little bit, because you said Lincoln haven't won any of the last 9, but they've also drawn over that period, and then just going back a little further, I can't be bothered to count. But
Are we happy?
there's a lot of grey and a lot of green on that.
We've gone on for a while, so I want to give the listener a little break. Should we are we happy with Stockport is the question. Stockport seems to be the one we're talking ourselves into. Peterborough we can come back to, have a quick break, and we can pick that up on the other side. Do we want to lock Stockport in?
I'm happy to lock them in, to be honest with you, Duff, yeah.
I'm fence.
I don't want to put them in at the expense of Peterborough.
I think I'd be more confident in Peterborough than Stockport.
Yeah, same. And I feel like we're putting a red line in there about the away team aspect of it, because we've got 1 away team in. Doesn't mean that it should preclude us from having another one in. If they're the picks, they're the picks.
This is dragging on too much. This 3rd selection, considering we'll have another
your
1
fault,
or 2
mate.
or 2 to
You're
make
in
it
charge.
Yeah, your fault. You stick them both
the
in, and then we
decision.
move on. We just
Make better decision. Right, that's it. Well, should we take Peterborough? People seem happy in Peterborough. I'm happy.
I don't want Peterborough.
Yeah, we like Stockport as well.
I'm happy.
We can take Peterborough.
I think let's double up, and then we might round off to Altrincham to.
And if we switch it out later, mate, we switch it out.
7.5-ish to 1 currently. If you got those 4 teams, we've got Barnsley, we've got Bolton. Do you want to add the other 2 away teams that we've discussed there? Take up to 3 away teams.
I think that. I'm down for it.
On the road.
Oh, don't all rush. All calm down about this.
On the road
potential.
again.
On the road again.
I've even got the podcast title for you then. Playing away.
Right, we won't use that. You know what? Let's lock them in. We've got Exeter. We've got Bolton, Peterborough, Stockport. Yes?
Yep.
Or no?
Yes, please.
They're the 4 picks, and we will try and make our 5th selection shortly. XG shot maps are now available on sportinglife.com. I'm here to show you where to find them and how to use them. So head to the football page, scores and fixtures, and then pick the match that you want to look for. Let's go for Fulham's 1-1 draw with Liverpool. The tab there that says shot maps opens up this here. It's the XG shot map showing you everywhere the chances came from, the overall values, the shot values, the XG values and things like that. And if you click on each individual shot, it will tell you everything you need to know about it. Where the shot came from, what the situation was, you can flick through those. Go team by team as well, and for those chances that didn't quite make it, you can click onto it and you see the lines that form there telling you exactly where the ball ended up. The stats tab as well has everything you need to know alongside shots. You've got tackles, corners, fouls, all the main betting markets that you need. So the XG shot maps and stats hub available on sportinglife.com/football. Been bullied and backed into a corner here. There are 3 away teams in this Acca, which I absolutely hate, so I'm interested to see what people think. We always want your comments. You know we read them out as well. Is this ridiculous? It's always been a bit of a rule based on early season feedback to go for away sides. Let us know what you think. We've got Bolton, Peterborough and Stockport as travelling sides, joining Barnsley. Watch all the away teams win now and it'll be the short price home team, and my theory will be completely flawed. Those 4 around 7.5-ish to 1 at the moment. I've mentioned Alty, who are like at home to Eastleigh. Alty, because it's just a long name to say, isn't it? The other one I'll chuck to you is another National League one. Oldham at home to Woking. We backed Chesterfield, was it, to beat Woking? You're getting around 5 to 6 on an Oldham side. 4 consecutive wins has thrown them into playoff contention. Not just that as well, it's given them a decent little buffer from the teams in 8th, 9th, etc. as well. And 3 consecutive defeats for Woking now. They are in the relegation zone. This is playoff team who have turned it around against one team struggling towards the bottom. And obviously, there's Dallas there as well now.
Barnsley reserves to 10 in.
Oldham, yeah. So that would be my other home team that I'd chuck forward. I think one of Oldham and Alty there, you've got one of those to make up a 5. Of the home teams, I do like the look of. Any thoughts? Everyone just kind of nodding. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it, mate. I chatted to you guys in the office in the summer about Oldham and the chances of getting out of the National League this year because of the takeover that they had from Frank Rothwell. And I expected them to start the season better, and it just wasn't great under David Unsworth. And since they've had the managerial change, he seems to have started to get it going because they're a really rich club in that division. Summed up by the fact that they could sign James Norwood from Barnsley, who's a regular starter in a League One team that's a kick away from being promoted to the Championship, and get him down to the National League. Now that they've signed Andy Dallas as well, it was one of the top scorers for Solihull Moors in the National League last year. They're basically going to have the most effective front 2 in the division for the rest of the year. The form that they're in, it looks like a really good price to complete what looks
I can't believe
really
it.
nice
I
Acca.
can't believe Oldham are a bigger price. I mean, I was just looking there as you were talking, actually, because I was thinking Mickey Mellon must be a bit of a promotion specialist. 5 promotions on his CV so far. 2 at Fleetwood, 1 at Shrewsbury, 2 at Tranmere as well, of which 2 of those are coming this level. 1 from the Conference North as well. This is a bigger price than Alty against Eastleigh, which I was really hot on as well, and I'd have them as well. But yeah, 5 to 6 you get around Oldham, and I think that the more I look at it, the more it just seems a daft price, because the upturn in form, and maybe the price is influenced by obviously the fact you've got to factor in the early parts of the season to some extent as well. But Mellon came in on the 13th of October, and then it's just been a lot of winning. They've turned it around massively. Ebbsfleet and Gateshead, the only teams to have beaten them since the 25th of October in the league. That's an incredible turnaround, and a lot of wins in that as well.
Yeah, I mean, from what you're both saying there, we're not going to see this kind of price about Oldham at home for the rest of the season, really. If they carry on doing what they're doing, Dallas gets settled, scoring a lot of goals, then they're going to be going off at Chesterfield-like prices for these kind of home matches at 1 to 2, 1 to 3. So 5 to 6 looks massive.
Should we take it?
Yeah,
I'm down. I think we throw it in.
Jimmy, you're quiet. Do you just want to say anything at this point, so you've had some input in the conversation?
Yeah. Sounds like they got some good strikers.
Sounds like football, all right.
A good manager and a good price. So let's get him in. And as that comment said, let's just chuck any old last team in so we can wrap it up and get out
of here. Yeah, to be fair, that was one of my strongest fancies, and I wanted to do that curve where we start strong, waffle in the middle, end strong, so kind of save one back there. Yeah, we all seem pretty happy on those 5 teams then.
Yeah.
We've got to be convinced because we're.
I think this is
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait. Come on.
This is it. This is the one that we have then. The 5 teams that we have settled on. This week's Acca, we have got Barnsley to beat Exeter. We've got Bolton to beat Carlisle. Peterborough to beat Lincoln. Stockport to beat Doncaster. And then one from my favourite hunting ground, the National League. We've got Oldham for a home win over Woking. Pre-boost, the price around 14.5 to 1. We like it.
We love that.
That is this week's Acca. And as we always say, remember to keep it fun. Never bet more than you can afford. Please gamble responsibly. And as we said just before, I've said that twice, but I'll repeat it anyway, that we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us on social media, in the YouTube comments as well, or search Sporting Life Football. You'll be able to find us that way. 2 more plugs to go. Head over to sportinglife.com/football. You'll find that link at midday. Is it on Friday? To back that from midday onwards, that'll be there. And if you haven't already, please follow, rate us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or the cliched chosen podcast provider. We will be back next week.